Joining me now, one of my favorite people in the world, Blaze TV host Jon MIiller. Jon, before we get into Bloomberg and crazy YouTube and everything else, I would be remiss if I did not get the Jon MIiller reaction to Kamala the Cop Harris dropping out of the race today. What say you?
Well, you know, Al Sharpton's very upset. I saw Al Sharpton on Twitter. He said that there's going to be no black people in the next debate. And when you look at everything through the lens of race, you know, that's really unfortunate. So he's devastated. But I think he's probably the only person out there who is devastated because, what was she polling at 2%? And, you know, and even in her own state, California, polling at 5%, it wasn't even guaranteed that she'd win her own state. So, I mean, she really just fell like a rock. It was incredible. She had that first debate, and then she kind of just fizzled out. And it was actually amazing to watch someone just fall that badly. And now she's out of money, and her campaign has collapsed. So it's a shame.
Jon, I realize a lot of the stuff we don't know because each campaign has its own inside baseball stuff that tells its own tale. But you do this for a living. You're inside the Beltway. Why did it fail? Because look, from an outsider perspective, especially when she launched, I thought this was a campaign that was going to go someplace. Love her or hate her, and I obviously don't like Kamala Harris. She speaks really well. She has that attorney background. She looks really good. Don't argue with me, Jon. She does. She's an attractive woman. I like it. All that was in her favor. She's a black woman, which means the press fell in love with her right off the bat. I remember they were doing little photo shoots where they were out photoshopping for jackets together, and it was a big rah, rah, rah thing. I thought everything was there for her to make some waves that everyone was talking about behind the scenes. Obama really liked her, maybe was pushing some support her way, and she just sucked. Why?
Yeah, well, apparently, I mean, from what I hear, she's a very talented politician, and even in person, she is very dynamic. You saw that letter that came out that was from a staffer that basically just said she ran her campaign into the ground. She didn't know how to run a campaign. There were money issues there. And so I think it really came down to management, and the staff seemed to be very unhappy. They were letting off a lot of staff, and the way they were let off apparently was not good. But just in terms of messaging, she could never quite figure out, you know, she couldn't figure out, am I going to be a radical, woke black sister, or am I going to be, you know, the hard-ass prosecutor? And she could never figure out whether she wanted to join the radicals or whether she wanted to be the more moderate one, the more reasonable one. And, you know, she waffled on Medicare. She was all over the place with Medicare for all. And so I think she never just figured out who exactly she wanted to be as a candidate. And there's clearly two very different positions on the left, and she could never figure out which one she fell into. So I think that mixed with the mismanagement of her campaign really did not do her any favors.
That is a fact. If you don't know what you stand for as a politician, if you'll pardon the pun, it is a tough road to hoe.